Now, in the last episode, I said that bikes are not that complicated. If I was comparing the level of complexity of a bike to a car, I'd be correct. But as I was comparing the level of complexity of a bike to my mental capacity, I was wrong. Now, in concept, a bike is pretty simple. You spin a wheel that spins another wheel. It's really simple. But in these modern times where we can do anything at the push of a button, that simplicity is lost. This simplicity is lost and replaced with anything to make the bike better. Now, this better could be anything from just a better seat to maybe a bit more complicated, like gears to make the bike go faster, or a fully fledged suspension to have a more comfortable ride. Now, saying these things makes it sound like I'm complaining about the complexity of a bike. I am absolutely not. I don't want you to believe that because I certainly don't. I love that I can buy a bike online at the push of a button, have it show up on my doorstep 3 days later, and I can use that bike to get virtually anywhere. Now, my semi-professional opinion is that you read up more on how to take apart a bike. I didn't do this, I just said seems easy enough and decided to start taking apart my bike. See, it's slightly more understandable for me to do this because I'm filming it. I have a safety net if I forget what I'm doing. Again, that doesn't make it any better, but I at least have that safety net. Again, don't do this. Properly look up what you have to do with your type of bike. It's the safest and the most logical thing to do. Do as I say, not as I do. A bike is broken down into a couple of main sections. The frame, the wheels, the front set, and the saddle or the seat if you realize you're not on a horse. These sections, I feel, exclude certain items that should be mentioned and maybe even into their own groups. I have decided to make some unofficial groups for these items that weren't included. This first unofficial group is what I call the brakes because they are surprisingly consisted of the brakes. The second group is the pedal assembly. It's the pedals and the gear that is directly connected to the pedals. And the third group is what I call the sprocket business, which is stuff like, wouldn't you know it, sprockets, the derailleurs, and the chain all in the back messing with the speed of the bike. To fully take apart a bike, you have to remove everything from the frame. Now, I'm very lucky. The only problems I'm having is with the tires. This means I only have to take off the wheels and nothing else. To take off the front wheel of the bike, it's simplicity at its finest. What I mean by that is that I only need to flip a switch to dislocate the wheel from the frame. Literally. Or so that would be the idea if it weren't for the brakes. Because of this problem, to even have a chance to take off the wheel, I need to take off the whole brake assembly. This sounds a bit complicated, but compared to what's going on in the back wheel, it's nothing. See, the back wheel of a bike plays a much more important role, because when you pedal, that's where the energy gets sent to. The first wheel, these metaphorical wheels are actually gears, is the wheel. Remember, it's actually a gear connected to the pedals which you manually move through pedaling. The other wheel, which is actually a gear, is the one directly connected to the wheel. There is actually multiple other wheels. Remember, it's actually a gear. The size of these other wheels, remember it's a gear this time because I'm done telling you, change to have a variation in speed or torque. Speed or torque sacrificing themselves to give more of the other. By that I mean that the first gear will have no speed but a lot of torque, but the 6th or 7th gear will have no torque and plenty of speed. But by using a middle gear, such as 3rd or 4th, you can get a nice balance of both. But, as I said earlier, I already took apart my bike, which means that I supposedly survived or I won't be able to put it back together. Stay tuned for the answer in future episodes.